there's a potential deal. I want to cite actually the Wall Street Journal here. Qualcomm approached Intel about a takeover in recent days. I mean, wow. Okay, so we talk about the semi space, and Qualcomm apparently has approached, and I'm sourcing the journal here, Intel, its rival in recent days, according to people familiar with the matter, and what would be the largest and most consequential deal in recent years. You're talking about a total deal value of possibly $90 billion. It would be coming as Intel has suffered a bit, especially vis-a-vis the NVIDIAs of the world. A deal, it says, is far, far from certain. Even if Intel is receptive, quote, a deal that size is all but certain to attract antitrust scrutiny for sure, though it is also possible it could be seen as an opportunity to strengthen the U.S.'s competitive edge in chips, which, heck, we need. Let me see if I can put Intel up here. Let's just take a look at the chart. What's your reaction to this? Do you like the idea?
Yeah. So this is definitely breaking news, just an hour ago or so. And it's, nothing firm, but it does sound like Qualcomm a few weeks ago was approached talking to Intel about buying certain pieces of the business. And now they're looking to potentially buy the whole thing. I think we need to kind of take a step back and really consider how much of a train wreck Intel has been.
We can see it here in the chart.
Yeah. This is just this year.
Well, I mean, I guess this is versus NVIDIA. So.
Well, no, but it's down more than 50% year to date.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, and while NVIDIA is up almost 250%. And it's important that there's one is kind of causing the other, by the way. But just to take a step back on Intel, you've made no money in Intel over the last 10 years. You've made no money in Intel over the last 20 years. Okay, Intel did pretty well, like I think going up, up into sort of until 2021 in that sort of time frame. And then it's down 70%. So Intel is a disaster. And, we talk about it being like $100 billion deal. This is Intel. NVIDIA's market cap is like $3 trillion. Okay, so, this is really a sign of the times that,
why have they missed this opportunity so badly? I mean, have you spent any time on that? Was it just that NVIDIA was more nimble initially, just kind of had the foresight to see what was coming? I mean, I'm laughing because one of our viewers here, James Bond James, saying, is Intel DEI now? I mean, look, the government was getting in there, right? They were going to build the big factory, weren't they? Like there was an idea we're going to onshore some of the stuff that's been overseas, and we're going to build a big factory. I think it was in Michigan for Intel. There's been a lot of hopes.
Benefiting from the CHIPS Act, but here's my initial read on what's going on here. When on the last earnings call for NVIDIA, when Jensen Huang was there, a big AI bubble, data center bubble, AI chip bubble, his answer was basically, what's going on here is we're redeveloping or rebuilding the entire computing infrastructure of the world, and it's going from a CPU model to a GPU model. And the reason people are doing it's not just AI, the computing that.
Okay, and just to back up for the layperson, like a computer processing unit, right, as opposed to like graphics processing unit. Is that what you mean, like CPU? And just walk us through.
Yeah, CPU. So basically, if you think about all the companies and all the people, everyone has, before NVIDIA came out, with its GPUs, and before we started talking about all these data center activity, like in the last few years. Most of the infrastructure for information technology takes place via CPUs. So on the computers that we're using, or in like servers and within offices, and all of that's migrating to the cloud, and it's migrating to data centers. And the engine for that is GPU. So NVIDIA's chips, no longer Intel's chips. So NVIDIA's redeveloping or reinventing the compute, the information technology infrastructure at the expense of Intel and to some extent AMD.
Okay.
So that's why Intel's dying, and that's why NVIDIA is thriving. So it's sort of.
Could Qualcomm fix it? Potentially. I mean, maybe it's better than the alternative.
Something should be done. And I think it does get, you mentioned at the outset, there'd be antitrust concerns. I would hope that somehow those get set aside, because the United States should protect Intel. We're very reliant.
Wow. Okay. You're saying it to an interesting crowd here, because this is not like a typically, I don't know all our viewers, but not typically a crowd. And I know you're not the kind of guy that normally wants to protect any industry per se, but I think you're talking about national security concerns here.
I am. Yeah. TSM in Taiwan, makes 90% of like all of the advanced chips. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we need to have the ability to make advanced chips in the United States and domestically, in our borders. Mm-hmm. And, if we start getting look, the CPU chip market, Intel versus AMD, like that's all commoditized. They're not making any money. Like that's the problem. That's why the stock's down so much.
They've laid thousands of people off. I think those notices came, late summer. They were just, making thousands of layoffs. You said they're not making any money. And it's sort of this business that feels sort of dead in the water compared to what's really going on, say, over there, NVIDIA.
Yeah. And, look, if the future is AI and the future is GPUs and they're all being made in Taiwan, to me, that's not an ideal scenario. That puts us in a vulnerable position. So I think something needs to be done at Intel to, this
should be good for the stock. I guess it's a bit of a bet on whether or not you actually see the acquisition go through. Also, it's not clear to me. Well, it's $90 billion. I don't know what that is per share. I'd have to run the math. But as recently as 2020, the company had a market value above $290 billion. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, now it's below 100.
It's down like 60% this year. But like, if you think about going from 290 in 2020 to now, possibly being 90 billion. People just aren't too psyched.
No, it's sad. It's dreadful. And Intel's an important company. And, I'd be curious to see like what maybe Qualcomm maybe this deal, if it happens, can facilitate the resurgence of Intel, or kind of the reinvention of it, and position it to be more competitive, within where the chip industry is going, which is in the direction of GPUs.
Viewers agreeing with you there, both on Facebook and on YouTube right now, that, we got to actually be thinking pretty strategically about how we protect an industry that is so critical to the future. Look, there's a lot that's sort of hanging in the balance right now in terms of our future, in terms of tech's future, and this is something we want to own.